You're listening to the Disruptive Franchise Podcast with Stacey Can, the podcast that celebrates innovation in franchising and peeks behind the curtain of failure, success, and the future of the franchise industry. Hello everybody, welcome to this week's episode of the Disruptive Franchise Awards. This week I'm joined by Sarah Horton. Hi Sarah.
Hi.
How are you doing? You good?
I'm really good, thank you.
Good, good. So Sarah, you are Little Movers Warrington. Tell us a little bit about you and the business.
So I bought Little Movers Warrington in December 2020. And obviously we'd just come out, well, we were still in COVID. I'd lost my job during COVID. I was on maternity leave. And I wanted to do something that was for me. I knew I wasn't having any more children. I knew I didn't need that time off. So I wanted something that was mine. My husband works for a franchise, so he was like, have a look at that, see what you can find. And everything I found just wasn't me. It was, I knew it had to be to do with children because that's what I've dedicated my life to. And it was all very, I don't know, sensory and stable and stationary, and that's not what I am at all. And then I found Little Movers, and it was predominantly northeast, it was at the time. So I contacted Mel and I absolutely fell in love with it instantly. It was everything that I wanted. It was active, it was parent participation, it was getting involved and making memories with your children. And that's what I love to do, and that's what I wanted to do for other families. So I bought it in December 2020, which was either a brilliant idea or an awful one. I wasn't sure. And I planned that I would start in the February, but then obviously there was another lockdown. So I started then in the April of 2021, and I sold out of 10 classes straight away before I'd even stepped into a room and done a class. Which was absolutely insane, absolutely crazy. And it's just snowballed from there, really. There's been lots of changes along the way. Life's changed along the way for me and for everybody else as well. Post-COVID has been a very strange time as well. Here I am, nearly 5 years later, still going strong and still absolutely loving it.
Amazing, what a journey. I love that I kind of think December 2020, like if you buy a franchise then and you thrive, like that's like the truest test, isn't it? Like to come out of lockdown, especially with like kids. And I mean, it was such an awful time really, but actually to find the joy within that and be like, yeah, we're going to do it, and then sell out those classes, that's an incredible achievement in itself, let alone 5 years later you're still selling out your classes. I know you are.
Yeah, it was absolutely amazing. And I think it gave me, I was feeling, obviously I didn't have a job, I was coming out of mat leave, I had 2 kids, it was COVID, it was a really stressful time for me, and then to have that thing that I could grasp onto, that I could make mine, that I could put everything into, really gave me a purpose to come out of that with, and to build for my children. And that's what we're all here for as mums, and parents, that's what we do, we're here for our kids. So to have that I knew I could push for them, kind of made it even more special.
Amazing. I bet they're so proud of you as well. I bet they are. So fast forward to 2025 and you are the latest franchisee of the year. Congratulations. How did it feel? So obviously you made it to finalists. It was a really strong category. How did you feel when your name got read out?
Oh, absolutely shocked. Like, I did not expect it at all. I was absolutely made up to just be in the final. I've been to a few finals of things and never quite picked that post, so that's just what I thought it was going to be again, which would have been fine. It was still amazing to get there, and I was still really, really happy with myself to get there. So then, when they called my name out, I was absolutely shocked. I was so shocked. And I didn't really know what to do. I've never done it before, and it's not. I don't know. It's not. 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 It's not to say that I don't think I deserve it, because that's not the right thing. But I think sometimes you're always harsher on yourself than how other people see you. And you know, maybe looking around the room with all these incredible people, it's like, how am I on this stage in front of all these people? So yeah, it was just absolutely incredible.
It's amazing. What I also really loved, so I had quite a nice vantage point because I wasn't handing out the award. It was Lewis, and to actually like know that you were going to win, to be watching you, and how big Mel celebrated. Like it was so Mel Buck being your franchisor, like to see Mel, like because you kind of were a bit shocked. Mel was like, ah!
Absolutely my biggest cheerleader. She believes in me wholeheartedly every single second. On my downest of days, she's there going, no, come on, you can do it, get up, let's do this. She's always pushing me, and I know that meant a lot to her, that I had got that as well, which was really, really lovely for me to know that. She's amazing.
She is. It was just so wonderful to see you both and just like have that moment. It was really nice. And so obviously on stage picking up the award, we know why you won it because we know that you're amazing. Tell us a little bit about kind of what you've been doing in your business and kind of why the judges, obviously you don't know why the judges kind of scored how they did, but like what was it about you that you think pushed you there?
So the past couple of years have been pretty tough. I think owning your own business is tough anyway, and I don't think I appreciated that when I started, all the kind of trials and tribulations that you'll get with it. But it's not just that. I think owning a business affects your whole life. So you still have to carry on regardless. So 2 years ago in December, just before Christmas, my father passed. So he'd had cancer, and although it was expected, it wasn't expected so soon. So it was still a bit of a shock. So he passed on the Thursday, just before Christmas, on the 21st, and then on the 23rd, I had like the biggest day of my year. I had 3 Christmas parties for over 100 children, and I sat with my husband and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know. And I'd got piles and piles of books that needed wrapping, so we could give them out, so Santa could give them out. And I was like, I don't know what we're going to do. But I made a very quick decision, to be fair, that I was going to do it, because no matter what was happening with me, them children didn't know that. And although the parents might understand, I had lots of messages from my lovely, lovely families saying, please don't do it, it's fine. And I was like, no, because they understand, but your kids don't understand why they're not coming. So my friends came round the night before, and we had some Prosecco and wrapped 100 together, which was also very cathartic. That was very lovely. And yeah, I went out and did 3 parties, one Baby Movers, 2 Little Movers parties, and I did it. I don't really remember doing it, but I did it, and by all accounts everyone said it went really well, so really good. With that, and I think it really helped. It was the best decision, I think, in the long grieving process that everybody has. It was the best decision to do it, because it showed me what a massive support system I have within my business and within my franchise. And I feel like sometimes you think that you give things to people all the time. I do these classes, we give them this, we socialise them, we help their development, we do this. And it's not just that, it's what they give to us and what they give to me specifically on that day was an incredible outpouring of love and support that really helped me, not just then but all the way through. When I wasn't feeling great and they knew I wasn't feeling great, that was okay. And them children who don't know what's going on, who don't care what's going on, they're just there for a good time, massively helped, because you can't be unhappy when you're in a room with 20 smiling, dancing, happy children. It's impossible to be unhappy. So Little Movers and running them classes helped me more than I think I've ever helped anybody. So it was really, really special. And then moving on from there, plodding along, just trying to get through life, I saw an advert on Facebook for a room that is not far from where I live, just around the corner from where I grew up. And I thought, I'll go and have a look. I'll just go and have a look. I had no plans to do anything with it, but I'll just go and see. I've seen it. And I went and I walked in and I was like, oh no. This is perfect. Oh, what am I going to do? Because I knew in that instant as I walked in, I was going to have to create something with it. And that if I didn't, I would always have a what if. And I don't like what ifs. I'm not a fan of what ifs. I like to sometimes be a bit spontaneous and be like, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to do it, which is what I did when I bought the franchise, to be fair. let's just see what happens. Because if you don't try, then you never know. So, 2 months after that, I opened the Happy Hub after a lot of decorating, a lot of painting. My whole family was painting for months.
It's a family business, isn't it? If you're a franchisee, it's a family business. Everyone's in.
Children were painting walls with me. I had my cousin in, my parents, like my mum and my stepdad. They were up ladders, doing absolutely everything to get the Happy Hub up and running. So it's been open now for about a year and a half nearly, and it's amazing. I love it. It's a space dedicated to Little Movers, but it's not just that. And I always want more for it, and I always have a million plans for it and lots of things moving forward. I do all my classes there and my parties and all my events, but I have other people using it as well. So my aim is for it to be a full use community space that is used with everybody and anybody from children to the elderly. I want everybody in there, and it's such a community driven space, and that's what I love about it, that it's not just mine. It's there for everybody, and I want it to be there for everybody. I don't want to gatekeep it. I don't want it to just be Little Movers. I want it to be for Warrington, and that's kind of my push with it, where I want it to go.
I love that, Sarah. Yeah. There's so much there, but it's really clear in terms of not just why you won the award, but above and beyond that, like why you are a winner in terms of franchising, in terms of life, because your attitude, your tenacity, there's just something about you that is just like electric, and I just love it, because in everything you said there, from the deepest of heartbreaks to this like drive to fuel the community, it's just incredible. It really is. And when we talk about disruption, I think very often people think, oh, disruption's a bit naughty. We don't want disruptive franchisees. I get this a lot. We do want disruptive franchisees just like you, who drive things forward, who have that vision, who have that spark to just be like, what's the possibility? Like, let's go and test those possibilities. I just love that.
Yeah, and I do think if you've got an idea and you've got a plan in your head, and work it out, can it work? Chat about it, and if that can be pushed forward, and not just for franchisee, but for the whole franchise. Like, I work with head office very closely, and I'm very much about the brand and pushing that brand, our brand, forward. Because if your brand's not growing, then you're not growing. And I don't think some people see that. Certainly new franchisees, I don't think I saw it as a new franchisee, how important that brand is for yourself and for your own business, how important your brand is and your head office is to be able to be disruptive and to innovate and to make changes that will ultimately benefit the whole network and not just yourself.
Yeah, I agree with that. I was always the one knocking on the door going, hi, can we do this? I've had this idea. How about this? Why don't we try this? And I think you need that in a network. And that's not everyone, you know, and I think that that's okay. But I think that having that communal understanding, that's what makes a franchise so strong. I think, to be able to go, well, actually, we could do this and let's try this, and, you know, oh, why don't you have a go because it worked for me? Like, the sharing aspect of franchise, I think, is often overlooked, particularly if someone's thinking about buying a franchise and they're like, well, I don't want to be hemmed in. You're so not hemmed in with the right franchisor, because the right franchisor, and I think to Mel's credit, she is definitely one of them, empowers the network to be able to have the vision and test and make sure, but also to not stifle, because like you just rightly said, the power of growing the brand, it benefits everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Amazing. I love it. In terms of innovation, we talked there about like the power of the network and things like that, but creativity, what's your creative drive? Because there is definitely something in you, Sarah, that is you're very creative. What is it, do you think? Like, is there something that is that always been in you since you were little? Did it come from like before franchising? Like, where does it come from?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't feel very creative. I'm quite spontaneous. I've had to reel in. My husband is also quite spontaneous. So spontaneous are we together that when he moved in with me, I picked him up from Manchester. We drove past Lee Cats and Dogs Home and bought a dog before we brought him back home. That's how spontaneous we are together. And that has had to be reined in throughout our marriage. Otherwise, it would just be absolute chaos. So I think, I'm not sure it's creativity. I think it's that I like to try new things, and like I said, if you don't try, you don't know. So I'm not one to just sit back and go, right, okay, yes, I'll do this, and I'll keep plodding on and keep plodding on. I need something new. I need something that keeps my mind going, that keeps me busy, that keeps my imagination flowing, that I can then go, right, I'm going to do this. This is my new project. This is right now. This is my new project. And keep pushing forward with different things. The not monotony, that's not the right word, but the regular day-to-day, on and on, I need something a little bit more than that. So I feel like that's what kind of pushes me forward with things, that I need new things to keep my incredibly active mind active.
Innovation.
Going. And if I don't have that, not that I get bored, but I get into a lull of doing the same thing and the same thing. So I need them new things to push myself forward.
I'm a lot like that, but I get destructive. So I am disruptive or I am destructive, and destructive is definitely worse. I find that I self-sabotage. If I'm ever caught in the monotony and not able to be creative or expressive, not like artistic creative, but like, you know, like mentally creative, I get very much like, I start to sabotage myself because I don't do well with boredom. And it might be that I just change how I do the same thing, but if everything stays the same all of the time, I check out. Yeah, the same. There needs to be something new coming in to my head to keep me busy with it, and to keep that spark with what I'm doing. And I can do that with Little Movers, you know, the happy hub. That's my spark for the moment. I don't know what my next spark's going to be. I'm sure they'll find out. There'll be something. I can't wait to find out. Yeah, exactly. And there's a real pattern, I think, with like, so franchisee of the year for disruptive. So I was the first ever disruptive franchisee. And Helen Wilson, who was at the awards, she won it last year, year before last, and then you this year. And I think what I see between all three of us is this like curiosity.
Yeah.
It's the curiosity.
What's next? What else?
Yeah.
What else can I do?
What else can I do? Yeah. How do I add to that? How can I make that better?
I don't take anything away. I just
no. Yeah, we're all peas in a pod. So if you want to go for Disruptive Franchise Awards 2026, you have to be very curious and not like to push things away. Love it. Have you got any advice, Sarah, for anyone thinking about entering Disruptive Franchise Awards in the future?
Go for it. Absolutely, go for it. I think if if you've got even an inkling that you can do anything, then go and do it and go and try it, because if you don't try, you'll never know. And there might be lots of failures along the way. There probably 100% will be failures along the way. That is part and part of running a business and being your own boss as well. That there will be times when you don't feel like you're enough and don't feel like you can do it, but that time will pass, and you've just got to work hard and put your time and your effort and your love into it, and you have to love it, because if there's no love there for what you're doing, that's not going to radiate out to everything else. So yeah, go for it.
I agree with that. I think from our chat, what I've really gained is that sense of impact on ourselves. We talk so much in franchising about impacting, the 100 kids for the Christmas party, the sellout classes, and socialising them, and all the wonderful things that you said that impact people who come to your sessions. But what I've seen really clearly in this episode, and has been wonderful, is the impact that it's had on you as a person.
Absolutely, 100%. It is. I've said this before, and I'll say it many times again. Little Movers has absolutely changed my life. I've always worked for other people. I've always worked with children, but nurseries, schools, hospitals, that type of thing. And it's always been lovely, but it's never been enough. It was never enough for me. And it's not just changed how I am with other people and what the brand and I give to other people, but what they give to me, but what effect it has on my family as well. I'm there for every drop off at school, every pick up, however much you might moan about it when it's raining. I am there. I'm there for Christmas parties, for nativity plays. I'm there for absolutely everything, and I think that is super important for me, because that's what I wanted. I had children so I could spend time with them, and I could have that time with them and love them, and I do, and that's down to Little Movers as well. That's down to owning this franchise and having that freedom that it gives me to be able to do that, yet be myself in it as well.
Absolutely, I love that. Sarah, if there was anything that you could do without fear of failure, what would you do?
Everything. Everything. Yeah, I would. And I would push every single boundary, and I would see how far I could go, because there's always so much more out there to do, with yourself, with other people, with your community. There are always other things to do, and if I knew I could never fail, it certainly holds me back at times. That fear of failure absolutely does hold me back. What if? But if I knew I could never fail, then I would do absolutely everything.
I love it. I think sometimes what if needs to be a boundary, doesn't it? Like when your brain is, because your brain I think is very similar to mine, like, well, let's just do it anyway. Sometimes that boundary keeps you safe in a positive way. You need the line to be somewhere. But equally, I think that what if, and allowing it to drive you, and not want to be like wondering, well, what if I'd done that? How different would my life be? And instead kind of going, I'm going to do that and it's going to change. I think there's a real skill in that.
Yeah. And then also, if it doesn't change and if it doesn't work, that's fine. That's okay as well. And, try something else. And that was my whole ethos with the Happy Hub. If it doesn't work, I'll go back to community classes, and I'll go back to what I was doing before, and I'll think of something else. Because not everything works, and that's fine. So try it, see what happens, and you'll either fail and go back and try something else, or you'll succeed. But a failure is never a bad thing. A failure is just learning. It's just learning from what you've done before to try and make it better next time.
Absolutely. I think a failure is never the end as well. Because I always used to say, like when I started my franchise, like if it doesn't work, I'll just go and get a ladder and a bucket and I'll clean windows. There's always something. You can always go and do something else. Like it's never the end. And I think sometimes we think when we're going to try something, it's it's going to work or it's not, and it's going to be the end. It's never the end. It's just the beginning of the next thing.
There's always something else. There's always.
There's always more. Always. Sarah, I've loved chatting with you. How can people get in touch with you?
So Little Movers Warrington. You can find us on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. That's my new little thing. I'm a bit old for TikTok, I feel, but
no, don't say that. No. Nope.
And yes, if you go to Facebook, all my information's there, and if you're in Warrington, you can come and join my classes and come and see what we're all about. That would be absolutely amazing. But it's been absolutely wonderful to talk to you, Stacey. Thank you so much for this opportunity.
Absolutely love chatting to you, Sarah. Thank you so much. We'll put all of your contact details in the show notes as well. That's it for this episode. We'll see you in the next one. Thanks, Sarah.
Bye.
Before we finish up today, I'd love to just thank our podcast sponsors, Book When and Make Your Mark Podcast Agency, without whom this episode wouldn't have been possible. You can find more information on both amazing companies in the show notes. If you've enjoyed listening to today's episode, please also make sure that you hit the subscribe button, and I would absolutely love it if you left a review too. See you next time.